Was high drama inspired by the plays we saw this time around? Ryan Spawn's Inspired by True Events is a backstage drama with plenty of gossip, egos, and a surprising turn of events. Mary, the stage manager and basic mom to the cast, is training Christine to take over while she has a vacation. Mary is especially close to Colin, who comes in all disheveled and discombobulated. He had just broken up with his girlfriend and was quite broken up about it. Mary tried to lend a supporting ear while trying to deal with actors arriving late and full of histrionics. Eileen almost got run over on her bike and was quite upset. Robert arrives late and all nonchalant, reporting a lot of police action was going on about the theater. Will this surprising hit show be able to go on with all the problems that Mary perceives? The audience is crammed into the dressing room, and we are practically on the actor's lap, which made it all the more intimate and engaging. The acting was sublime. Dana Skurlock as Mary exuded compassion and no-nonsense organizational skills. Jack DeFalco as Colin was moody and petulant as a little boy from drinking too much at the opening night party. Mallory Portnoy as Eileen comes in all the Twitter as she could have died from that car that ran her over. She's all excited as her mom is in the audience. And Lou Liberatore as Robert saunters in without a care in the world, but all that will change. Sean Frank's props were magnificent. Inspired by True Events is a fun peek at behind-the-scene antics of a Rochester-based theater company, and I give it a happy face.
Irish Rep is bringing back Bill Irwin's On Beckett, which I saw first when they did it in 2018, and it's really like a lecture with illustrated little pieces of Beckett plays, snippet of Waiting for Godot, some Text for Nothing, and The Unnameable, and What. But mostly it's about Irwin's relationship to Beckett through clowning. And he really explains how this has helped him to understand and work with Beckett. And he's done a lot on Broadway and off-Broadway. I thought it was a really fascinating lecture, and I don't normally like clowns, but Bill Irwin is just so sophisticated and so brilliant that, I just think he's one of the best comedians who is also a gifted clown and a really smart I guess, theater historian dealing with Beckett. I would give it a happy face. I'm wondering if I could see it again.
And the show is perfect for people like me who don't like Beckett. Mr. Irwin might change your mind. For people who love Beckett, like Mark and Bina, this is your chance to hear Little Done Beckett. Mr. Irwin is a real treasure, and this is gold. I'm still giving it a happy face minus, though, because Beckett can just go so far, but Bill Irwin can go very far in my eyes. Moving from the public theater is Alicia Keys' Hell's Kitchen, which is now on Broadway. With a book by Christopher Diaz, it tells of a rebellious teenager, Allie, growing up with a single mother, Jersey, and the clashes between them while living in the section of New York City called Hell's Kitchen. Her mom works 2 jobs, so Allie is able to sneak out of the apartment and hang out with her friends and listen to Nuck, who she has a crush on. He's always drumming on a joint compound bucket with his friends outside the complex where she lives, Manhattan Plaza, which is a home for artists, dancers, actors, writers, musicians, and singers. Ray, the doorman, keeps an eye on Allie with Jersey's friends, and they warn Jersey that Allie has been hanging out with Nuck. Jersey can't seem to control Allie, who sasses her mother, who only wants her to eat a good dinner and stay out of trouble and be safe and well fed. Reluctantly, she calls on her deadbeat dad, Davis, for help. He only makes things worse. Allie finally thinks of something outside her selfishness when she meets Miss Eliza Jane, played brilliantly by Keisha Lewis, who's playing piano and singing in the multi-purpose Ellington room. Suddenly, Allie feels her purpose when Miss Eliza starts to giving her piano lessons and not taking any guff from her. What will happen with all these volatile relationships? And I should say, Shoshana Bean as a mother is wonderful. And I got an interview with her later that I got at the the Lortel Awards. And also at the Lortel Awards, I talked to the choreographer who sent this off the charts. I mean, you've got Alicia Keys' music, which of course is wonderful. And the woman playing Allie, Malaya Joy Moon, is really convincing of a rotten brat. And I didn't like her character at all. But it's very brave to play such an unsympathetic character.
Well, I kind of agree with, I didn't like her at all either. And I thought it was just such a generic coming of age kind of story of hers that I was bored by every time she was on. But the mother, the father, and that wonderful Keisha Lewis, who did that, old style jazz pianist who's teaching and, has problems of her own, but really helps the girl more than anybody else could have. So it's, it's the fringes of the story were much more interesting to me than the actual story.
And we should say Brandon Victor Dixon played the dad, and we all know how sexy and great singing he is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they served the music well with the beautiful singers and the great choreography, but the audience loved this. They were just bopping away in their seat. I mean, they could barely contain themselves. It's a wonder they didn't all start standing up and dancing in the aisles. I mean, they were just yelling and screaming. I mean, this is the real audiences love this. I'm giving this a happy face minus.
What did I give it? I gave it mixed faces or mixed faces plus.
Hello. Hey, here we are with Shoshana Bean. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but I hate the way she treats you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. No one gives me any sympathy. Thank you. Oh, no, I actually could not enjoy because when you slapped her, I was like, yes. Sometimes they applaud. Depending on the crowd. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, when she throws a food and runs after you and she just leaves with no consequence. I know. Let's just be very clear. The real Alicia Keys was not like that. She did not behave that way. Her mother has made that very clear. I'm not surprised she would write a musical where she paints herself in such a horrible life. We gotta have conflict. We gotta have somewhere to go and grow. And I love, and you're to me, you're a Jewish mother. If you eat dinner, all I care about is Terry, kind of. Terry's here with me, the woman that I'm loosely based on. And she's Italian. Jew's Italian. It's all about eating. That's right. And oh my gosh, and all those wonderful songs you get to sing. And also, that's been a dramatic thing after you went to comedy with Billy Crystal. Yeah. I've learned so much from him that I feel like I get to bring to the very few comedic moments in this show. I was thinking about him this morning and how lovely it is to discover where the laugh is with an audience. It's like music. It's so fun. I was thinking of that this morning. In fact, I just realized something. There you play the bratty kid, and here you're the mama, the bratty kid. Karma. Is that what it is? Theatrical karma. I thought you were on my side. No, I am on your side, but you were a bratty kid before. It's a balance. I'm always on the mom's side. Balance. I got it. And congratulations, because you get to sing with Brandon Victor Dixon. I mean, young. Yes, we have a great time together. Yeah. And the choreography around you. I don't know why you probably just want to sometimes just drop character, join in with them. All the time. I was a dancer first, and I stopped dancing because I was better at singing, and I miss it every day. And so to be around those kids, watching them be exquisite and get to do that choreography every day is absolute torture. And I gotta thank you during COVID. Your singing and Zoom things were they kept me going. So thank you. Thank you for coming to them. It kept me going as well. So, well, congratulations, sweetheart. Good to see you. Bye. Good to see you too. Hello. Here we are with
Camille A. Brown.
Oh, the choreographer. Well, of course we met before because you're my favorite choreographer. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, but I never know what the people look like. I never can remember. Right. But the name, when I hear the name, I light up. Oh, when I saw Hell's Kitchen, I'm like, the choreography's going to be so good in this one. So how did you end up, coming up with ideas? And because it's almost like the dancing is part of, like it reflects what's going on. It's almost part of the dialogue underneath it all. So how did you, incorporate that into the story?
Yeah, it was a lot of trust that the team had for me, and I always wanted to find and I always try to find ways of storytelling within movement. So movement is just not there for movement's sake. It's actually, what is its purpose? How can it support the story? How can it take on some of the story? How can it lift up? So I'm constantly trying to find those ways. So Hell's Kitchen and the book by Chris Diaz, and also the trust that Michael Greif had, and of course the beautiful music that Alicia Keys created. It gave me the opportunity to find different entry points and different ways into it. Because sometimes the dancers represent neighbors or people that are walking in New York City, and sometimes they embody the voice of Allie, the feelings, the emotions. So the world that was created really gave me that opportunity to play with different things.
It was basically the character's inner thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I wanted it. That's what I wanted it to feel like. So I'm glad you see that.
Oh, it did. It's like, because sometimes you're confused with what's going on and what they're feeling and everything. But then you look at the dancing with the incredible music, it really gives you strong emotion.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you feel that. I always try to, one of the first things I think about when creating is, what do I want an audience to feel? What do I want to feel? So the fact that you are telling me that you're experiencing all of the emotions and all the feelings, and you see what I was trying to do, that just is wonderful, because you never know. You give it to the space and it is what it is, but you saw it. So thank you. This is the first time that I've had the opportunity to have a dance ensemble, and I love musical theater, grew up on musical theater. I remember the big shows that had those specific dancers that just came out and did their thing, and the fact that I was able to do that here was just like a gift.
Well, it shows, and I think it was one of the most important parts of the show.
Thank you.
Because I really don't like the way she treats the mother. It made me very angry.
It's a story, it has a lot of things, a lot of emotions, so yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shana Taub Suffs has ambitiously embarked on recounting the fight for the women to have a vote all the way up to the 70s, where this time the women were struggling to get the Equal Rights Amendment passed. Nowadays, they just want the basic rights of employment and fair wages. Think women's soccer team, and now Clarke. Through it all, we see how each generation has a firebrand that becomes the older spokesperson afraid to make waves. There's no bigger firebrand than Alice Paul, played by Shana Taub, who butts heads with Carrie, Catt, played by Jenn Colella, who heads NAWSA, National American Woman Suffrage Association, with her aide and confidant Molly Hayes, J.G. Macahuge. Susan B. Anthony founded NAWSA 60 years ago. She was Carrie's mentor. They have 11 states who are giving women the votes, and now they are going after New York. Carrie's way is to organize, agitate, educate, not antagonize, irritate, enervate, where failure is impossible. Alice wants to go after President Wilson by organizing a march in Washington, D.C. NAWSA has an old, unused office there she wants to take over to achieve this, but Catt's red tape stands in the way. But as we soon learn, nothing stands in the way of Alice's dogged determination. And she recruits charismatic warrior woman socialite Inez Mulholland, Ruza Wenklowska, who fights for the working woman and immigrants, and her old college roommate Lucy Burns. They rope in Doris Stevens, an idealistic college student who becomes their secretary. And Ida B. Wells, an African-American reporter from Chicago, wants to join in too, but not wanting to ruffle the South, they form a Negro delegation in the back of the march. They always have to wait their turn. So I just love this. I thought the music was fantastic. And, it's kind of depressing at the end, because, it's like, yeah, we got the vote, but we still are fighting just to be treated as equals. It's just, women are still treated diabolically as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, this is set, and I like this better than when it was at the public, because they opened it up with more sets and everything, because at the public was just giant steps and it kind of was limiting. But I just thought the cast and everything about this was fantastic.
This is Sasha Clarke speaking. I have to say that Emily Skinner, as both Alva Belmont and then Phoebe Byrne, and they do not say who plays her son, but she gets the 11 o'clock number, and she plays both her roles very well. She plays the socialite donor who funds the campaign for the most part, and then she plays Phoebe Byrne, who's this housewife mother from Tennessee who sends the infamous telegram to her son right before the vote, and he was that one vote that was needed to make sure that the bill got passed. And so this is not a song about unrequited love or anything else, but it is truly the 11 o'clock number of the show, and it brought tears to almost everybody's eyes. I saw people crying throughout. But Emily Skinner was simply wonderful. The whole cast was wonderful. The majority of the cast moved from downtown to Broadway and stuck with this. Their perseverance and their dedication showed through. Jenn Colella, as most people know, left Come From Away specifically to work on this show when it was at the Public. And as I said, most of the cast did stay with the show, and the whole cast is phenomenal.
This is a sprawling, turbulent, fascinating take on what it took to get that all-important vote, and I'm giving this a happy face plus.
Me too.
Hello, here we are with
Jenn Colella.
and you are back in Suffs again.
I am. I'm so excited that it finally has its Broadway debut. It's so cool.
Yeah. And you play a character we don't know. We know Alice Paul. We know Ida B. Wells. We know Elizabeth Stanton. Hey, what about your character, Carl?
Carrie Chapman Catt was Susan B. Anthony's protege. And yes, I didn't know anything about her until I started the show either. Isn't that crazy?
I know. It's like somehow she fell through the cracks, but how come the other ones didn't?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think it's strange because a lot of the suffrage movement was kind of pushed down and not taught. And I blame it on the patriarchy.
So, I also gonna blame everything on the patriarchy because they really did screw everything up.
They screwed it up, but we're making it right over there at the Music Box Theater.
But I love the fact that you were the firebrand with Susan B. Anthony, and then Alice Doll, and then later on she was the Orton Crew.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't it beautiful? I know. I love the symmetry in that very much.
Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you, my friend. Nice to chat with you. Have a great night.
Interesting and unique show is opened up on Broadway called Illinoise, which is based on the music and lyrics of Shoshana Stevens, who apparently has a following. I don't know him, quite frankly. And the book is by Justin Peck and Jackie Silbo's Brewery. And Justin Peck also directed and choreographed this. The singers are on top in butterfly wings, and they're singing, while down below is mostly dancing. And these people sit around a campfire and they tell their stories. I guess they're writers. And so we get different stories, different little vignettes of what they're working on. And some are really out there, some are very touching. And the main guy, Henry, we get his journal, which is in the program. And we should say that they dedicated this to Thomas J. Gates, the production stage manager, who just died, and it's just shocked everybody.
I also am not all that well versed in the music of Sufjan Stevens. Of course, I'm familiar with his name and the title track of his album and centerpiece of this production, Chicago. I found the story and presentation to be a little confusing and difficult to follow. It centers around a group of friends on a camping trip, with Henry being the main character, as everyone takes turns opening up and sharing short vignettes into their journey, their love interests, their struggles. The music and movement, rather, is really what's at the center of it. And so that, I think, is what contributed to my confusion. But it really puts ballet and contemporary dance center stage, which is not something you traditionally get on Broadway. It's typically something, given Justin Peck's involvement with the New York City Ballet, that's where you tend to see it. And they still are collaborating with Sufjan Stevens for this current season. It's got a very minimalist set, and it has a sign from the state of Illinois. That's continues to change throughout different scenes.
I mean, it started off at Park Armory, and it's getting great critical acclaim. So, I mean, the audience is really enjoying it, and the critics are enjoying it. It's like, it doesn't matter you don't understand the story. The dancing is gorgeous, and it's really pretty to look at, and it's just, it's a nice evening at the theater. It's very highbrow, and you'll feel really like enervated or energized afterwards, because it's just.
I was gonna say, I think it's well suited for fans of Sufjan Stevens or fans of ballet. I give it a happy face because I just find it to be enjoyable. It's not for everybody. If you like linear plots or traditional musical numbers, it's definitely not that. So go in knowing what you're expecting. But for the artistic license that's granted there, it's ambiguous. It's again celebrating ballet and dance. So again, for me, it's a happy face.
I'm giving it a happy face plus for the choreography and the dance, and a happy face minus for the confusion of the story, which I just did not get. But yeah, if you like dance, go. At the Mitzi Newhouse Theater at Lincoln Center is Mario Correa's N/A, which basically is about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, as this youngest person ever to get into Congress, and she meets her idol, Nancy Pelosi. And it goes from admiration to challenging Nancy Pelosi. And our Richard Talbert, who reviewed for us 25 years ago, is back, and he's going to talk even more about it now.
In a dynamic world of American politics, the meeting between two prominent figures, Nancy Pelosi and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, unveils a powerful narrative and transcends personal backgrounds and highlights their significant contributions to the political landscape. As Madam Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi introduces AOC as the youngest member ever nominated to Congress, settling the stage for a compelling exploration of their roles in shaping the future of our nation. Pelosi, a seasoned politician with a wealth of experience, and AOC, a passionate political activist hailing from Queens, New York, embody different facets of the political spectrum. Despite AOC's upbringing in the suburbs of Westchester, New York, her privileged background is not delved into, signifying a deliberate choice by the playwright to focus on their ideas and actions rather than their origin. And you should know that AOC got a lot of grief about this. This intentional narrative direction reinforces the notion that their current positions, the play set against the backdrop of the tumultuous year 2021, takes a dramatic turn. Insurrection unfolds in the US Capitol, as we know. Pelosi and AOC find themselves in the midst of chaos, facing imminent danger, and showcasing immense courage and resilience.
So I should just say that Nancy Pelosi is played by veteran actress Holland Taylor, who before she was Governor Ann Richards, and now we see her as Nancy Pelosi, and Anna Villafana, who was AOC, and the last time we saw her, she was Gloria Estefan. So you can see these are wonderful actors in this, and this was directed by Diane Paulus.
Following the harrowing events of January 6, 2021 in DC, the focus shifts from personal backgrounds of Pelosi and AOC to their collective response to the crisis. The botched coup, as we know it, serves as a catalyst for unity and strength, emphasizing their shared commitment to upholding democratic values and principles. In that moment, their origins and stories fade into insignificance as they emerge as symbols of courage and determination, embodying the ethos of great Americans who have faced challenges head on.
I got the impression that this play was about this the older politician and younger politician and their challenge. You know, she admires her and then she challenges her. She's constantly on Nancy Pelosi's case, like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and trying to light a fire under her. And Nancy Pelosi is trying to calm her down. I mean, that's a dynamic I got from it.
My dynamic was more of the chaos that was going on in the country at the time. We heard Nancy Pelosi and AOC tell their personal stories about what had happened in Washington on January 6th. That seemed to be the highlight of what I got from NA. I give an extremely happy face.
And I'll give it a happy face minus because it kind of dragged on a bit. I kind of got sleepy towards the end of it. It was just too much back, it's like, so I'm just a tad happy face minus. John Giler's Rosenberg / Strange Fruit project is back at 5090 59th Street, and Mark Savitt saw it a couple years ago, and this is his review. John Giler's Rosenberg Strange Fruit project is an extraordinary history lesson centering on the younger son of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who were executed for espionage on June 19, 1953, and Abel Meeropol, the New Jersey high school teacher who wrote the anti-lynching anthem Strange Fruit, which was immortalized by Billie Holiday. Mark Savitt learned so much. Apparently, Abel adopted the Rosenberg son after the execution, and Robert, Meeropol, the Rosenberg's younger son, learned from his mom that communism was about love and sharing. He also followed the Meeropol's leftist leanings and carried these beliefs into adulthood. Giler masterfully tells the story by voicing many different people involved in historical events. We hear from Robert as a young boy, an impassioned college student, and a mature adult. Meeropol also addresses us at various ages. We also hear from the Jewish judge who condemned the Rosenbergs, W.E.B. Du Bois, an ultra-conservative Texas woman who served in Eisenhower's cabinet and pushed hard against the Rosenbergs. Even Billie Holiday makes an appearance. Giler lets the historical figures explore aspects of anti-Semitism and anti-African American racism. While Mark Savitt believes the Rosenbergs were guilty of passing secrets to the Russian, he's convinced that if they had not been Jewish, they would not have been murdered by the government. Giler mentions klezmer and jazz, and musician Lee Don provides live examples of both. She often plays excerpts of songs mentioned by Giler, including Strange Fruit, of course, and White Christmas as well. Mark often found himself responding with strong emotion to this material, especially as it relates to Robert, of becoming an orphan. Giler's writing seems strong and formally resonant. He especially liked how he tied the 6-year-old Robert's observation of tugboats and the huge cruise ship, the Queen Mary, with his comments as an adult much later in the play. He gives it a happy face. The next show is August 10th. Closing August 3rd is The Bad in Each Other at the Tank. Closing August 4th is Good Light Productions' Black American Working Woman and the Danger of Hope at Episcopal Actors Guild. Live-In Theater's Murder in La La Land is at the Brooklyn Art House. Twilight Theater Company's doing the Rosenberg Strange Fruit Project, like we said, at 59 59th Street Theaters. Special events. Tonight, July 27th at 10:30 p.m., as part of Queerly Festival, Lorizari presents If I Did, You Deserved It under St. Mark's. Robert Wilson Conference has a conversation with Robert Wilson August 5th at 7 o'clock, live or in person, free and open to the public, live stream on HowlRound Here at Martin E. Siegel Theater Center. And Handsome Brad and Cherry Pitts present a Hotsy Totsy Burlesque tribute to anime at the Slipper Room, Thursday, August 8th at 7 o'clock. And of course, Soho Playhouse at 15 Van Dam Street always has great stuff going on. And today is Alfie's birthday.